The chances of you being hacked, if you're the object of a targeted attack, I would argue is 100%. Now, it's not a 100% chance that they're going to maybe get everything they need, but there's a 100% chance if somebody wants to get into your network, they are going to get into the network. And so the question is, what am I going to do about that?
And joining me now is retired Major General Brett Williams, the former Director of Operations at U.S. Cyber Command.
My next guest, retired Major General Brett Williams, is perfectly placed to offer an assessment. He's now President of Operations and Training at IronNet Cybersecurity. General, welcome to Meet the Press.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chuck.
The process that hackers are going to use to try to get into your system, it's going to start with a social engineering phase. They're going to figure out who's in the company. They're going to use Facebook and LinkedIn and those sorts of things. And they are going to figure out a way to trick you into getting into the network. He gets into one of those endpoints and then he starts to move laterally through the network, right? And he is hard to find because he has gotten somebody's credentials, right? He's gotten somebody's credentials so he can move around the network looking like somebody that's authorized to be there. But understanding how this attack goes all the way from the social engineering phase at the beginning to getting those credentials, to getting that first foothold on that first endpoint, to moving laterally through the network, running the command and control, getting access to exactly what they were looking for, understanding that entire attack cycle is how you have to deal with this. You can't rely on that perimeter security. All we know about the technology is that you're going to be using a different technology 18 months from now. The bad guys are going to have a different technology 18 months from now. So what the culture that you set in the business based on the behaviors of the leaders are what are going to allow you to deal with this threat over time. Understanding cyber risk, managing cyber risk, handling cybersecurity is part of our business culture. It's part about what we think about. We aren't going to have an important meeting about anything that we're doing with this business that cyber risk and cybersecurity are not going to be part of that meeting. And so the capabilities that I saw in Cyber Command at the nation state level are now being sold on the open internet, where you go in and say, hey, I want to get into company X, this is the information that I want to get, and now people bid on that particular job. Depending on the survey, we went from 146 days last year to they're saying somewhere in the 46 to 49 days this year to be able to discover that somebody is in your environment, they're moving laterally, they're establishing a position in there. It takes the bad guy hours to days to do that. If it takes you 46 days to find them, that's why it gets really expensive. Because now it becomes a C-suite decision to fix it, right? How much business interruption am I going to take to be able to fix this problem? But you've got to understand what is that critical data that if it were manipulated, if it were destroyed, if it were stolen, would have a strategic impact on my company, okay? And that's not normally the CIO or the CISO's job to figure that out, right? That's the business leaders of the company. Hopefully the CIO and the CISO are considered part of that business leader group, but it's the business leaders that have to decide what data, if it were exposed, manipulated, or destroyed, has a strategic impact on my company. And so here are the things that I think are important, and these are the things that are not going to make you immune to attack, but again, a lot of this is like the old joke about the bear, right? I don't have to run faster than the bear, I just have to run faster than Jim over here, right? Assume you'll be hacked. Be prepared. If you aren't running tabletops, you aren't running exercises that involve everybody in the business, right? Everybody from the general counsel who's going to have to deal with the oversight and regulators, who's going to notify law enforcement, what are we going to tell our shareholders, what are we going to tell our customers, what are we going to tell our employees? The first people to sue Sony were the employees. All of that stuff is the really hard stuff. The technical stuff to respond to a breach is really not that hard.